समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. Hari Om. We start the eighth chapter of the Geeta now, and this is a description of Akshara Brahma, which is the imperishable reality. Now, what happened was that this is the continuation of the seventh chapter. The last two verses that we did of the seventh chapter explain certain technical terms like adhiyagnya, adibhuta, adidaiva, and all that, but they did not explain them. They mentioned them but did not explain them. Now, here the student in Arjuna is wondering that what do they mean? So, the teacher has to not only use technical terms but has to first explain them before the student can grasp what he's saying. So, this chapter explains those terms. So, it is a continuation. Secondly, this chapter also tells you that definitions of truth are not enough, or definitions of kshara and akshara both are not enough. How do they connect with each other? Must be known. What is the way to reach the higher? Must be known. So this chapter, in this chapter, the student is demanding the technology. He is saying, theory, you have told me in the past 6 chapters, 7 chapters, the theory I have understood. But tell me how. What must I do? What is the method? See, Arjun is a man of action. He is an army commander. So he doesn't listen to philosophies and theories. He wants a direct order. He wants a call to action. And what should be exactly done? So that, haven't you heard people saying, हाँ ये सब हमने सुन लिया लेकिन करें क्या? ये तो बताओ कि करना क्या है? Because most of us are action oriented. Most of us are action oriented. So we want to know not just the theory, but what exactly one needs to do. Now, this is a short introduction to chapter 8 that I have just given you. And here it begins. अष्टमोऽध्यायः अर्जुन उवाच किं तद् ब्रह्म किम् अध्यात्मम् किम कर्म पुरुषोत्तम अधिभूतं च किं प्रोक्तम् अधिदैवं किमुच्यते. Second verse. अधियज्ञः कथं कोत्र देहेऽस्मिन् मधुसूदन प्रयाणकाले च कथं ज्ञेयोऽसि नियतात्मभिः. So these two verses are together because one after the other, the student in Arjuna has shot 7 different questions to the Lord. When he feels that the Lord, the teacher, is ready to answer questions, then why ask just one? Take the opportunity, catch the teacher by the scruff of his neck and say, ye bhi batao, ye bhi batao, ye bhi batao, ye bhi batao. So that you don't have to all the time plead with him, ek hi baar mein 7 questions. Now, what are the 7 questions? Look here. One is, what is Brahma? This is number 1. What is Adhyatma? Number 2. What is action? Number 3. O best among men, what is declared to be the Adhibhuta? This is number 4. And what is Adhidaiva? Number 5. So, ye dekhiye. Acha. Then Adhiyagnya, number 6. And what happens at the time of Prayanakale? Prayanakale at the time of departure from the body, at the time of leaving the body, Prayanakale. So what happens at that time? So these are, when and how is adhyagnya here in this body? O destroyer of madhu. देखिए यहाँ पे the word purushottama in the first stanza, Arjuna Vacha, in the first verse, Purushottama means the best among men. Purusha Uttam, the best among the men. So Krishna, I mean, Kim Purushottama, Krishna is being addressed as Purusha Uttam because he is in the form of a human being, a man. And that is why Arjun is addressing him. Now, again in the second verse, Arjun addresses him as Madhusudana, the destroyer of Madhu. Okay. Now, who was Madhu? Madhu was a demon. He was a Rakshasa that was killed by Krishna. But why is his name Madhu? Anybody will ask that Madhu means honey, or anything that is sweet is called Madhu. So for a Rakshasa's name to be Madhu is a bit strange, isn't it? And if he was Madhu, if he was all that sweet, then why should Krishna kill him? That also. Now, Madhu, actually, the word Madhu in Vedanta is generally used for vasanas. Vasanas or desires. Because desires are the ones that give you happiness when you fulfill them. Right? So that is why, because they give you so much of happiness, so much of pleasure, they are called Madhu. ठीक है तो madhu, and everyone runs after that madhu in life. Everyone runs after madhu in life. That is why the Rakshasa Prakriti, I want this, I want this, and you keep snatching and hoarding with greed and aggrandizement and bullying others and snatching from them. All that because you want the madhu, like the honey in the beehive, right? What do? You kill the bees to get the honey. So also over here, that even when you destroy people and snatch things from them, that is the madhu that you want. Now, Krishna is the destroyer of madhu. That means Krishna is one person who rids you of desires, who rids you of vasanas, who takes away the vasanas from you. And that is why the symbolic killing of the Madhu Rakshasa by Krishna. So, Madhu Sudana, that is one name of Krishna. Now, so that is one. And the last question is Prayana Kale Chakatham. So, Geyo si niyatatma bhi. That means, how does one reach the Atma Swarup at the time of death? Or after death, how does one? Arjun is asking the technique. He is demanding the technique from Krishna, that you have told me everything, but just tell me these things, the why and how of all these things, and how can I be self-controlled. ये जो है ना नियत आत्मा भी, a person who is contained within his atma, who is controlled, who has controlled himself, how does he ultimately attain the Parabrahma, Paramatma? Okay, so these are technical terms. Please remember that all these Adideva, Adhiyagnya, Adibhuta, and all these are technical terms. So they confuse Arjun. Poor fellow. He says that what are these terms that you have used? I would like to know very clearly, very definitively the meanings of these terms so that I can apply the siddhanta, the principles of these terms into my life. So now Krishna replies, Shri Bhagavan Aksharam Brahma Paramam Swabhavo Adhyatma Muchyate Bhuta Bhavodbhava Karo Visarga Karma Sangitaha. Is at the second verse. अधिभूतं क्षरो भावः पुरुषश्चाधिदैवतम् अधियज्ञो अहमेवात्र देहे देहभृतां वर. Huh. So these two verses, since he has in two verses asked questions, Krishna also takes two verses together to give him the answer. Now, the first verse, the blessed Lord said, Brahma is the imperishable, the supreme. ये देखिए, अक्षरम ब्रह्म परमम. Aksharam, that which cannot be destroyed, indestructible, imperishable, that is called Akshara. You will also know that हमारे यहाँ जो syllables होते हैं, जो वर्णमाला होती है, that is also called Akshara, isn't it? In no other language, mind you, no other language is such a deep word used for sound. They say Akshara. Akshara means that which cannot be destroyed. So sound is said, comes in the category of that which cannot be destroyed once it is generated. ऐसा मानते हैं that once sound is generated, it stays in the atmosphere till it finds its target. People who study sound waves and all will tell you that a sound that is generated, it travels on sound waves till it finds its target. So it does not get destroyed on the way. इसीलिए हमारे यहाँ नाद को भी परब्रह्म मानते हैं, because indestructible. Now carefully, that this is behind the thought in Hinduism कि कभी भी बुरी बात मुंह से उच्चारण मत करिए. Something wrong, something negative, don't speak it. Because if you speak it, it has a sound effect. And that sound effect is akshara. It will find its mark. तो जब आप मंत्र उच्चारण करते हैं, वो भी अक्षर है ना, तो that will also have effect. Anything that you speak will have an effect. We all know it. Sound has an effect, we know it. All mantras are based on sound, the theory of sound to generate certain effects, because they are sound harnessed and repeated in a certain pattern again and again and again. It generates an effect. Excuse me. That is why in Hindu families, they don't talk about anybody's death. Nobody will say, when you die, what will you do? When you die, what will this one do or that one do? ऐसे नहीं बोलते हैं. They will mostly say, God forbid, if tomorrow something changes, ऐसे बोल देंगे. What will, but they will not talk, they will not say about death as such. तो कोई भी बुरी बात मुंह से उच्चारण करने से वो एटमॉस्फेयर में रहती है, अक्षर. So remember that. So then that is the reason why people, most of the people are very careful with their speech, and they do not say wrong things or abuses or indecent speech and all is not to be uttered. Acha. Akshara Brahma Paramam. He says Brahma is the imperishable, the supreme. His essential nature is called self-knowledge. Self-knowledge is adhyatma. So self-knowledge. The offering, the creative force that causes beings to spring forth into manifestation is called work. He had also asked about karma. Okay, what is karma? Right? So what is work? What is karma? That also he had asked. So here the next, I'm reading the translation of the verse 4 now. Adibhuta or elements constitutes my perishable nature. See, he says Adibhutam Ksharo Bhava. Kshara means that which can be destroyed. Not only can be destroyed, but which perishes also. So here it is Adibhuta for elements constitutes my perishable nature, and the indweller or the essence is the Adidevata. I alone am the Adiyagna here in this body, O best of the embodied. Now he calls him Deha Bhratam Varaha. Look at that. They both call each other by different names, which are complementary names. Here, Krishna is addressing Arjuna as Deha Bhratam Varaha. That means, Vara means the best. शादी में आपने देखा है ना, जब दूल्हा आता है तो उसको क्या बुलाते हैं? वर. Var means he is the best man over here. He is the best human being, and that is why he is like a treated like a king for that 1-2 days of the wedding. Var. Anything जिसके आगे वर लगता है becomes the best. Now here he says Deha Bhratam Vara. Deha Bhratam Vara means that of the embodied people, those people who have a Deha, those who have got a body, you are the best among them. What a great compliment for Arjun. So if Krishna is the teacher, the student is also not very far behind. The student is also one of the best men in the world. So here it is. Acha. Now then let's come to the terms. We come to the terms. And see, if you read the commentary, you may probably be a little bit confused about it. So to hear from a teacher is different, and to read yourself is a little bit confusing, as Arjun also got confused. So I have written these things down for you, and so that you can, if anybody wants to write down, you can please take out a notebook and a pencil and write down, because I have categorized the terms and their explanations for you in a simplistic manner, 1-2 lines type of a thing, so that it is clear in your mind what we are saying. Now, the first definition is of Brahma. Number 1 is Brahma. This is the changeless, imperishable, indestructible principle behind all phenomena in the universe. Yes, all that you see is destructible. Okay, all that is within your purview is destructible, including your own body, including your own mind, including your own intellect, your emotions, your thoughts, your everything is destructible. Now, this thing, what the Hindu philosophy calls Brahma, is changeless, there is no alteration, imperishable, it is, and it is the consciousness principle which enlivens everything, illumines everything. Illumines, it is with his power that the eyes can see. Ken Upanishad. It is the power behind the eyes. The fleshy eye cannot see. Think about it. See, eyes are transplanted today, isn't it? But the eyes taken out from a dead man or a dying man, while they are being transported to the next man, they do not see on the way. जब वो आइस बॉक्स में या कैसे बंद होके and they being taken by a drone or whatever, at that time they don't see. There is no vision in those eyes. But the moment they come into touch with consciousness, that is a living human being, suddenly that same equipment, the fleshy eye, begins to see. So who is the seer? The seer is this Parabrahma principle. This is the illumining, enlivening principle behind the body, mind, intellect of all beings, whether human, animal, insect, reptile, fish, whatever it is. This is the enlightening principle behind all phenomena. Okay, so understand this as the Brahma. Number two, Adhyatma. Number two is Adhyatma, the question of Arjun. Now, the presence of Brahma in each individual body is Adhyatma. That principle of consciousness in your body, when it seems to be conditioned by it, seems to be conditioned, it becomes one with the body, it permeates every cell of the body, and the body behaves as though it is alive. That is what is called Adhyatma. It is conditioned by the equipment, it gets married to the equipment and works along with the equipment to make the equipment seem alive. This body cannot be alive. It is just flesh, bones, matter, skin. Put all these things in a bag in front of you, see if they can talk, see if they can think, or see if they have any movement. No, isn't it? So, what is the enlivening principle? When that consciousness in the body acts as the body, then it is called Adhyatma. It pervades every cell, and it is with its power that the grace, intelligence, actions, speech, talk, walk, dance, intelligent ideas, whatever it is with the grace of this Brahma. And so it is like that. Now, to give you an example, there is a bucket of water. This example I've given many times before, and I'm repeating for those who are listening the first time. The bucket of water, the reflecting medium, it has got no heat, it has got no light, right? The sun, the all powerful sun, reflected in the water heats up and the water lights up. It lights up so much that you cannot even look into it, because the sun is faithfully reflected in the water as though the sun is in the water. We all know that the sun is not in the water, but it reflects so faithfully in the water that it lends its properties to the water. What are the properties of the sun? Heat and light, isn't it? It lends those properties to the water, it lends its own look to the water, so that the water seems like the sun. The same with us, right? So when you empty out the bucket, then you say, where's the sun gone? The sun never came. So where will the sun go? The sun was still in the sky. Please understand that. So when a human being dies, you say, where has that consciousness gone? The consciousness is left. वो हिंदी फिल्म्स में नहीं दिखाते कोई मरा and then you see a light traveling out of him and going out and all, वो सब कुछ नहीं है. The Brahma, if it is immutable, if it is changeless, then it has to be all pervading. It has to be all pervading. So why isn't, if it is all pervading, then why is it not shining now? Why is it not enlivening now? The reflecting medium has failed. The reflecting medium has got a flaw. I always give the example of electricity, that when the bulb fuses, the electricity has not gone anywhere. The electricity is still there in that socket. But the bulb has fused and therefore electricity cannot express itself. So the Parabrahma expresses with the power of Prakriti when it reflects correctly. Hmm. Okay. Now then the third one is the karma. ये दास ना karma. Karma, some people translate it as labor. It is not labor. It is not a, how much is the turnover or what is the ultimate profit that the workers have put in their sweat and blood. That is not labor. Karma and work are two different things. When you bend under the weight of work, when you carry it like a donkey on your shoulders, then you are a laborer, not a worker. A worker is he who has a creative intelligence and fulfills himself and gets the joy out of working. When you work joyfully and creatively to do something, to achieve an end, and you achieve it, joy is not only after achieving, but even during the process of the work. A painter paints because he finds joy in it. A musician plays music because he finds joy in it. A scientist in his lab, day and night without food and water, is trying to discover something or invent something new because he finds joy and fulfillment in it. Got it? So that is work, classified as work, karma. He forgets himself in doing it. There is so much of creative force, there is so much of creative urge which finds its fulfillment in creation, that is specified here as karma. You know, the urge, the energy that comes out of your body to create anything. And he says over here that to create anything that causes beings to spring forth, the creative force that causes beings to spring forth. Now beings to spring forth is the sexual urge. Even that is classified as karma, and it is a divine karma ordained by the Lord to procreate. It is listed in Hinduism almost as one of the duties of a human being, to procreate. That is one of the purposes of the grihastha. That is his duty, to procreate and bring up a new generation. So here, so it is not the forced work, forced unwilling work, which is brought on by sweat and toil, but something which delights you in fulfillment. So even when parents create a child, when a man and a woman come together with that creative urge to create a baby, how happy they are. Have you seen? The father and the mother, how delighted they are. The grandparents, even more delighted. So that, so this is karma. Now the fourth one is adhibhuta. Adibhuta. Adibhut is the world of phenomena, which constitutes of the five elements. The पांच तत्वों की बनी जो प्रकृति है, the prakriti made of the five elements, and which is kshara. He calls it kshara. Adibhutam ksharo bhava, he says. So that is, it is destructible. All the world of matter is changeable and destructible. It comes under kshara. So ksharo bhava. And it is like there is a difference between the adhyatma and the adhibhuta. The difference is, like, I'll give you an example, the car and petrol. The car is adhibhuta. The petrol over here, without the petrol, it cannot move, no matter how best the engine is, no matter how supreme and modern the technology of the car is. But without gas or without a pushing force, even if it is solar, even if it is electricity, the car will not move. So that The car is Adibhuta, and the force that moves the car is Adhyatma, that which inhabits it. Have you understood this? Another example I'll give you: the fan and electricity. The fan is Adibhuta, the electricity is the Adhyatma. The body, our body, mind, and intellect is Adibhuta, and the Brahma functioning through you, the consciousness principle, as Adhyatma functioning through you, is the other thing. Now then, come to the next one, number 5, Adideva. So, what is Adideva? The indwelling Devata, as translated by Gurudev. The indwelling Devata is the Adhideva. It says Deva. Deva means Devata. So Adhideva. So that is the presiding deity of the 5 senses. The presiding deity is the faculty of the senses, the work that they do, and without that they cannot function. So the abilities of the body, the abilities of the mind, the abilities of the intellect, vision in the eye, audition, hmm, the smelling power, all these are called Adhideva. These are the not the senses, not the energizing force, but the faculty, uh, which lends the power to these senses. Number 6, Adhiyagna. This is very interesting because he says that I function. Look what he says. He says, I alone am Adhiyagna here in this body, O best among the embodied. So, what is Adhiyagna? The metaphor is from Yagna. In those days, they used to do Yagna. है ना, वो हवन, हवन तो जानते हैं ना, आप लोग सब जानते हैं. तो देर इज अ हवन कुंड with fire in it. There is a pandit who is conducting the havan, and there is the havan samagri, which you are offering into the fire, so the fire keeps going. है ना? So here that metaphor has been taken as the human body and the functions of the human body. And here the Lord says that I alone am Adhiyagna. So he, all action, all actions, the doer of the action and the enjoyer of the action is he alone. Now, you please take the entire metaphor. Okay? Of the Adhiyagna. The metaphor is that the body is the Havan Kund. If you want, all those who are listening, if they want to write down, you may please, so that it's clear to you the metaphor. The body is the Havan Kund. Okay? The senses are the Pandits, the priest who will get the Havan done. Okay? The OET, which Gurudev used to call the entire phenomena of the world, that is objects, emotions, thoughts. Okay? All these things in the world are the Yagna Samagri, the Havan Samagri, which the senses bring from outside and pour into the body, into the fire of the body. And that is what we constantly do throughout our lives. All is offered to the consciousness in you, oblations by the self to the self. Right? So, from the outside world, what you gather, that is also done by the Lord. He lends you the power to do, isn't it? Anything that you want to buy, you want to get, all these markets that you run to, all the malls that you run to, all the places you want to see, what you want to eat, what you want to smell, taste, hear, see, all that is empowered by Him, isn't it? So he brings in all those things, he creates all those things, and your senses, like the Pandits, bring those things inside your body and offer them inside to you. Hmm? So the Lord here is only suggesting that the eternal, imperishable self alone is real. Carefully. The Lord here is suggesting that the imperishable self alone is real. All the rest comes under the category of Kshara. Huh? So he is advising Arjun to become the divine witness of this entire yagna performance. The body is doing the yagna, enjoy it, participate in it, enjoy it, do everything. Nowhere in the Gita it says don't do. Till you are fascinated by it, carry on, because that is why your body is created. So do it. So if it benefits you, if you feel happy, yes, okay. So this is the divine witness of the yagna. Learn to become the divine witness so that you enjoy the whole thing and understand who is doing. It is very important to be the witness and understand very clearly that it is not the body, mind, and intellect that is performing anything. It is being done by someone else, it is being empowered by someone else. Okay, so now let us come to the next verse, fifth. अंतकाले च मामेव स्मरन् मुक्त्वा कलेवरं सप्रयाति समद्भावं याति नास्त्यत्र संशयः. Here the Lord gives you a guarantee. Yate nastyatra sanshaya. He says that there is no doubt about this. Now, no doubt about what? You remember Arjun had asked, what was his question? That prayan kale, ant kale, at the last time, what happens? And how can I reach the ultimate reality after my death or at the time of my death? What happens at the time of my death? Now, see, only till the time that you need the body to exhaust its prarabdha. Huh? What is prarabdha? This life's quota of experiences. Once the quota of experience is fulfilled, the ego itself drops the body because it does not require the body anymore. The individuality functions through the body so long as it wants to use the body. Once the prarabdha is over, you know, that quota of experiences that you were supposed to get in this life are over. Remember, so even the kicks that you get in life are part of your quota of experiences. Even the joys that you get in life are part of the quota of your experiences. And all of us have a beautiful mixture of joys and sorrows in this life. Okay. So here, this. So you need the body for to exhaust the prarabdha. But once that is done, it gets over, the body is dropped. But then where does the body go? What happens? Where does the Atma go? Where does the ego go? You know, those questions. Now, here see, and whosoever, this is Krishna speaking, verse 5, I'm reading the translation. And whosoever leaving the body goes forth remembering me alone. Please underline, remembering me alone, not anything else. At the time of his death, he attains my being. There is no doubt about this. Look how emphatically Krishna is promising. How emphatically Krishna is assuring us that there is no doubt about it. So you think that, oh, this is very easy. So in life, you do all kind of bad karmas. You murder, you rape, you loot, you snatch, you do whatever else. At the time of death, याद कर लेंगे कृष्ण को. And at the time of death, you will have a beautiful end. That never happens. The mind has a way of traveling in the grooves created by the thought patterns throughout life. Whatever your mind has been doing throughout your life, that forms tracks in your mind. And your thoughts run only on those tracks. So it is an impossibility that at the time of your death, your mind will think of anything other than what it has been thinking all along. Carefully. Huh? See, the example given by Gurudev was that there was a shopkeeper. He was very attached to his business and his shop, in his shop selling goods. He had three sons. When he read this verse in the Geeta, he said, "ये तो बहुत आसान है." Like, he was only doing his business. Hmm? More profit, and more profit. That was his mindset all the time. So he kept the names of his sons Hari, Narayan, Vishnu. And he said that at the time of my death, I'm so attached to my sons that one or the other I'll call. So when I'm taking the name of the Lord, I will automatically reach. So he thought he is very wise, and that is what he did. So when the time of his death came, he called out, Hari. So Hari came. Then he said, Vishnu. Vishnu also came. Then he said, Narayan. Narayan also came. When all three came there, this man said, Oh, all three of you have come. Who's looking after the shop? And he died. So where did his mind go? Ultimately, the mind was at the shop and the business that he was doing, because he was, the names he kept, but he was not remembering the Lord. He was only thinking of his shop and who will run the shop if all the three sons are here and he himself is sick. देखा? तो here, तो अभी आप ये देखिए that गुरुदेव का एक और एग्जांपल, that a man is shifting to Jalandhar and he gives a check of 50,000 rupees. That check cannot be cashed because the balance in his bank is only 500 rupees. So if he has gone to Jalandhar, check देने से तो काम नहीं चला ना. Because the balance was only 500. So the best thought will not come as Narayana, no matter how hard you try. If all the time your mind through your life has been doing japa of cash, how much money has my business generated? That is your mindset. So your mind will go to the most forceful thought that has been in your throughout your life, and that is what you will get. See, a bullet that is fired from a rifle takes the direction in which the barrel of the gun is at the time when the trigger is pulled. ठीक है? Whichever direction the barrel is when the trigger is pulled, the bullet will go in the same direction. Midway, the direction, the bullet cannot change. So thoughts are like that. Gurudev used to say, be very, very careful of thoughts. And nature, and he used to say that nature's laws are not an amendable constitution. They take place as they take place. You cannot say कि अभी तो मैं ये कर रहा हूं, बाद में इसको amend करके ये कर दें. No, you can't do it. The thought patterns of your life will play out relentlessly and ruthlessly at the time of Antakale. So, but Krishna is giving you advice. He is guaranteeing that if at the time of death you are able to think of him and him alone, because of your lifetime's practice or lifetime's japas, then definitely he says you will come to me and you will come to me alone. He says yam prapyana nivartante taddhama paramam mama. So he says, this is again the in chapter 8 verse 21, you will get it. So then over here, summing up, Krishna says that there is no doubt about this. He is again summing up, he is perorating, and he is condensing, classifying, and coming to a conclusion that definitely, a person who has been doing tapasya through his life, or who has remembered me through his life, whether with love or even with hatred, even with virod bhakti, at the time of death, the most powerful thought about the Lord will surface in his mind, and he will come to me and me alone. So here we end this, and next time we take verse 6. ॐ पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम।